I'm so sorry, Bananas and Pyjamas fans, but these OG bananas went through. Since day one of the 2000s, I've always had a TV in front of my eyes. And with my eyes, I can see Bories, Boblins, Wiggles, Trugs, Platypuses, Couches, Fresh Beats, Rangers, Teletubbies, Explorers, and... Bananas? Did somebody say bananas? Now I'm seeing more bananas, more explorers. Summer's officially back. Good luck, Charlie, in high school, and go mow Bories. What's going on, everyone? I'm Graham Giancola, and I will be talking to you about rebooted versions of OG children's shows. I'm not going to be including spin-offs or movies because that list is for another day. I'm also going to be including revived TV series as well. Category 1, you already know, revived and rebooted TV shows. Category 2 will be scheduled, rumored, or planned children's TV shows. And the last category, Category 3, will be children's TV shows I'm hoping to get rebooted sometime soon, in the near future. Let's get things started with el primer programa de televisión. Dora se hola to adventure. Okay, amigos, let's start with los positivos, the positives. The animation looks really cool. I love the fact that they brought back some of the OG characters like Swiper and Dora, of course. And I'm glad that they still kept the teaching you Spanish words like abre and vuela. And now it's time for los negativos, the negatives. Since it's an 11-minute show, it feels kinda rushed. The songs are too fast. And there's not much adventure too. It's just most of the time it's just one place. Me personally, I prefer the OG Dora the Explorer, specifically Season 3. Let me tell you why. My favorite part about Dora the Explorer is all the Explorer stars and the star catching they do. The Explorer stars are really an underrated part of Dora the Explorer, and I was really sad when they got rid of them after Season 4, due to time. My personal favorite Explorer star has to be Rocket Star, because just like me, he's fast, he's energetic, and unlike me, he is a little cute. But during post-Season 4, there's something I didn't really like about the show. Or I should say, my pet peeve about animation and TV shows. I'm not sure if this has been pointed out or not, but during portions of Season 4, like Dora's Dance to the Rescue, the characters' tongues don't move up when they say L words like let's.
Huh? Boots and I love to dance! Do you like to dance?
See what I mean? No tongue movement at all. I know, the Simpsons' tongues don't move when they say L words. But you know, they're the Simpsons. They've been doing it since day one, and they usually get away with everything. But Dora, it started with mid-Season 4. That's why Season 3 is the best, because of the Explorer stars and the mouth movements. Anyway, Bob the Builder 2015 reboot is a huge improvement to the original stop-motion series. This season is full CGI. There's a lot more energy in the characters. All your favorites returned. And Scoop, he's even more hilarious now. The animation is really cool. Just like some of the other shows I'm going to be mentioning on this list, I think they might have de-aged Bob by 10 years. Because if you look at Bob from the OG stop-motion series, he looks like he's in his mid to late 30s, early 40s. But in the CGI series, he looks like he's in his mid to late 20s, early 30s. Just like most of the other British shows I'm going to be mentioning on this list, I never really had the chance to watch the British dub of the series. As a proud Canadian, at least 90% of the time growing up, Bob the Builder was on the American dub. I didn't really mind the American dub, and I think there was some flashbacks in the stop-motion series where Bob was in his 20s and 30s. But boy oh boy, Bob the Builder 2015, young, energetic, and always ready to have fun, that's my kind of guy. Myself, I like to get to know people through asking questions. Who are some of your inspirations? In 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? Was it your dream to go to Brazil? But when stars ask you questions about who you are, they're figuring you out. And that's what Nickelodeon did. Figure It Out is an American children's panel game show where Nickelodeon celebrities ask you questions about who you are. Specifically, yes and no questions. Growing up, it was the 2012-2013 version that I've watched, with Jeff Stuff. Let me tell you about Figure It Out, before you figure me out. Kids have a weird or interesting talent, and they have to tell Nickelodeon celebrities what that is without telling them. So they have these little boards, or like animals, where they have like 5 to 7 blanks about their thing that they do. And the Nickelodeon stars have to get it in 3 rounds. But for every round they don't get it right, the kid wins a special prize. And if the kid stumps all 4 Nickelodeon stars, they win a big prize at the end, like a vacation. The 2012-2013 revival version was my era, because I wasn't born in 97 or 99. Yes, I'm old. But anyway, in the 2012-2013 version, there's a thing called the Word of Honor, where if a Nickelodeon star guesses a specific word, the kid gets all slimed. And Jeff Steffen recalled a special slimy moment during the show. I think y'all know what it is.
Probably my favorite, not only Figure It Out moment, but my favorite moment of everything I've ever hosted across all the years and all the channels was a moment at Figure It Out where we had a young kid who, I think Brennan was his name, I think, and he was a circus performer. And he had figured out that if they got one more word on the secret, he was going to get slimed.
I know that episode.
Exactly. And so he, in that split second when he heard that word, he spun out of the chair and dodged the slime. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I never saw a kid move that fast. I was like, whoa. And then, like, I turned to him, and he's standing, like, right over there. And I squared off, and he was, like, looking at me. And, like, I went to motion towards him, and he took off. And, like, he then, like, you know, didn't know where to go, so he ran over. You know, there was, like, a curtain that went all the way down the side of the studio. And he, like, found the out and started running backstage. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I can't believe this kid just took off. And so, like, I look over to one of the camera guys, and I was like, come on. And, like, you know, the camera guy, like, started running. I held the curtain open, and I chased him all the way down the alleyway. And there was, like, a stagehand back there that, like, blocked him off, and I went and grabbed him and carried him back out and put him in the chair. And once I got him in the chair, I looked over at the guy who had got his finger on the slime button. I'm like, yeah, go for it. And we just, you know, gave him the sliming of a lifetime.
And speaking of Grennan, no, not me, Graham. Grennan, I managed to find him through social media and talk to him about that special moment.
They said that there was a secret slime word, and that if they guessed the slime word, that I would get slimed. And they guessed every other word on the board except for the word. So I was sitting at the edge of my seat, like, waiting for it to happen. I knew it was going to happen at some point. And as soon as she guessed it at the very last second of the last round and everything like that, and as soon as she screamed it, I knew that was my time and I had to get out of there. So I ran out the door that I came in, and I think in the video I come back and I'm like,
he ran backstage. So he ran backstage. He may not remember this, and then was like, okay, you know, that was a funny moment, and started to come back. And that's when the host was coming, had followed him out. And I mean, Grennan was on his way out to Wilshire Boulevard. He was going to leave the entire studio, and then he got caught up and brought back.
I got caught up by my limo driver. Can you believe that?
Oh, Jeff was your limo driver?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then the host grabbed you from him, and
at least I got to take him out with me. I did. He did get slimed with me, so I'd say it was worth it.
His mom and I were saying, because we grew up watching Nickelodeon too, of, you know, what an honor it would have been to be slimed. His mother's initial reaction, she couldn't believe he ran away from it. But then we thought it made it so much better. And I remember, you know, being on the other side of the camera watching and just shaking my head like, this is television gold. This is comic gold. What's happening right now?
I've seen episodes of the OG version on YouTube. To be honest, Summer's a great host, but Jeff really rocked it in the 2012 version.
Yo Gabba GabbaLand in under 30 seconds go. The characters are the same from the OG version, the music still rocks. But DJ Lance will always be the OG #1 favorite. The OG and the reboot roughly remain the same, just the hosts are different. Great job, Gabby Gabby. I may not be #1, but do you know who is #1? Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas and Friends, All Engines Go, is a reboot of the OG Thomas and Friends series. This version of Thomas and a couple of the other characters are much younger, but with the same life lessons and problem solving as the OG series and a bunch of other children's shows. This version of Thomas was not produced in the UK, it was actually produced here in North America. Charlie Zeltzer, the voice of Percy, told me what it's like voicing Percy and some behind the scenes stuff about the show.
Let's focus on Thomas because I actually have something really interesting to share. Because in voiceover, you normally actually record solo. So I go in, there's of course there's the technician and there's the voice director and a little bit more of the crew, but there's no other actors in there normally. And so I record all my stuff and I leave, and then everyone else does that, and then the amazing editors, they stitch it all together, creating the episode. But sometimes I do what's called an ensemble record, which means I go in with another actor. And
Yes.
so for me, that's normally Kai, who plays Thomas. And we have a lot of fun, and he's awesome, and I love it.
Yep, Thomas and Percy always go great together.
Yeah.
Charlie, the amazing Zeltzer, and I are nearly a decade apart, and boy, he's a really smart kid. Watch the full interview now where I tech with Charlie about his other skills and talents. Anyway, back to Thomas. Even though All Engines Go is cute and funny, I grew up watching the OG live-action model series and CGI series. In the American dub, just like B.O.B. I love the CGI series better than the live-action modeling series, but thank goodness Thomas and Friends is still going to this day. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, B2? Oh, I think I am, B1. It's Bananas in Pyjamas time. Bananas in Pyjamas is an Australian TV series. The OG costume version aired from 20th of July 1992 to 14th of December 2001. And the animated reboot aired from 2nd of May 2011 to 3rd of July 2013. The rebooted version is 11 minutes per episode. The characters' mouths move beyond on point.
Think I am, B1? String, rubber band, yo-yo, whistle.
Unlike a certain somebody I might have mentioned earlier from season 4, there's a lot more color. The fast-paced G major theme song starts the energy.
In pajamas are coming down in pairs. Bananas in pajamas are chasing teddy bears. 'Cause on Tuesdays they'll try to catch the unaware.
And if you listen to the OG Bananas in Pyjamas theme song in A flat major, it sounds like the bananas are gonna haunt you down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas are about to haunt you. The episodes being 5 minutes long, it feels really, really rushed. I don't know if they're like ventriloquists or not, but no mouth movement at all.
Oh, shh! Quiet, Maggie, you'll scare the thief away! Oh, B1, the shiny party hat's gone! Oh dear me.
I'm so sorry, Bananas in Pyjamas fans, but these OG bananas went through some enzymatic browning. But these bananas are so deep, I would never throw away these bananas.
Hi everybody. It's cold here in Antarctica. Do you know who else lives in Antarctica? Pingu. And he's from Pingu, a British Swiss stop-motion animated series focused on the title character himself. He gets into mischievous adventures with his family, especially his little sister Penga, and we all know what he says whenever he's, I don't know, either upset, happy, or he just loves saying, what's better than one newt? Two newts! Wink wink. Anyway, I like the revived series better than the OG series because the colors are way more better. It looks like it's CGI, but it's really stop motion, and it's faster pace, and the animation is fast, if you know what I'm saying.
Before I mention what's next, I am really proud to represent this city of Richmond Hill, Ontario. We have amazing restaurants, beautiful scenery, the Richmond Hill Centre for the Performing Arts, come see a show, people and celebrities. But these two band members who formed in Richmond Hill, Ontario, I loved watching every single time they were on. And their names are Judy and David. Judy and David have been performing music since 1991. Judy David's music shop aired in 1996 on Family Channel in Canada. It was a combined concert and TV pilot. Originally known as Judy and David's World's Smallest TV Show and was first announced in 1998, between 1999 and 2000, 60 episodes were made for Judy and David's Judy and David's Boombox. The format of the show is very simple. Each episode begins with a skit lasting at least 10 seconds.
Hero. I'm the hero? And you have to climb and climb.
And then either Judy or David asks a question, with the boombox, whose name is Boomy, gives clues in the form of rhyme, known as Rhyme-a-Diddle Time. Once Judy and David figure out the answer, with David occasionally getting the answer wrong, they sing a song about or is related to the Rhyme-a-Diddle Time answer. With a final 10-second plus skit at the end.
I made something special for International Boombox Yummy Foods. Yeah. Popsicles of the world!
A decade passed the Boombox and they made a new series, Jigga Jump, a hybrid live-action and animated series. This show also has a simple format. A live-action costumed kangaroo known as JJ magically makes an item appear on the right side of Judy and David's door. He then hops away, sometimes chuckles. Then, Judy and David figure out what the item is. They then, quote-unquote, walk to the gate, and they have to do a stretch that might relate to the item from before. Once the gate opens, JJ is there! They then find out where they're going, but JJ doesn't want them to go until they eat a healthy food or drink that might relate to the theme of the episode. And then they magically teleport through the theme song to the location they're going to sing at.
Jigga jump, 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 jump. Hands up high. Jigga jump, 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 jump.
After they jigga jump to the location, they give like a 5-second plus introduction and then they start singing. If you, yes, you, YOU, listen to some of the songs, some of the tracks are from the original Boombox series, with newly added vocals from Judy and David and the child chorus.
Rock, rock and roll. Do it with me, sing it with soul. I love rock and roll. All of this is my own point of view. Let the music take you for a spin. Your heart, it starts a-pumping, turning up the heat.
Between the Boombox series and the Jigga Jump series, both of them are really great in their own ways. Both have many similarities and differences, but you just can't pick one from the other. Judy and David are Richmond Hill icons and national treasures. Thank you, Judy and David. Thank you for representing Richmond Hill on the TV screen. Another quickie, go! Woo-hoo. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg, am I right? I came to Duckburg on September 18th, 1987, and then left on November 28th, 1990. Monsters, brave hearts, action, adventure, and quacks! Over the next 20 plus years, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I want to be a duck tuber, a duck gamer, or a duck prankster. That wasn't until August 12, 2017, when I finally decided to return to Duckburg. But unfortunately, I left on March 15, 2021. Because now I'm a duck tuber. But let me tell you, there was way more action, way more adventure, way more brave hearts, and way more quacks during 2017 to 2021. My Duckburg journey started in 1997, left in 1990, didn't know what to do for 30 years, until 2017 to 2021. The best time to be in Duckburg. Echo everyone. Let's go back to England to talk about popular British nostalgic icons. Time for Teletubbies. It's time to say echo to Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe. In the OG version, the show was about 20-ish minutes, while in the revival series it was about 15-ish. One of the major differences is the windmill, or should I say the magic windmill. In the OG series, the windmill is a pinwheel that spins very slow and very fast, with magic sparkles coming out of it. While in the revival series, the windmill they use is a farmer's windmill, aka a smock mill. I don't think it has multiple speeds, I think it only has one speed. Again with sparkles coming out. Oh boy, kids love visuals. Bigger visuals, the better. Another major improvement of the Teletubbies was their tummy screens. Because these tummy screens look like YouTube videos you're about to play. While in the OG version, it was always just sparkles every time. Their tummy screens show real-life kids doing things that other kids should learn how to do, like finger painting or riding a bike. Sometimes, either the windmill or the Teletubbies themselves want to see the video again, and they play the exact same video of the kid doing a specific thing, like I mentioned earlier. As a kid, when we watch the tummy screens again, it feels cute and adorable because some of the tasks the kids do might be tough, and the kids watching at home might want to figure out what to do, so they might play the tummy screens again. As an adult, watching the tummy screens again is kinda repetitive and wastes the time, because as an adult we want new stuff, not just the same every time. Either way, the Teletubbies made a great revival, and I'm really glad it kept the same spirit as the OG version. Hey everyone, I was just doing my Calliou window. Let me tell you about Calliou myself. Oh, I'm glad I still have all my hair. Let's go fast. Huge animation improvement. Legendary voice acting, especially the voice of Calliou himself, Logan Nicholson, a young and upcoming star.
The shovel, my pail, and that little rake. I need them to make my castle.
Y'all should check him out. Anyway, I also noticed that Gilbert is a little shape different. He's a little fatter, which I think makes him look more cute. But I do have to say, the mouth movements are quote-unquote interesting. With an epic performance, Logan Nicholson's Calliou is his breakthrough role. Well deserved, Logan. Animaniacs, better animation, way more colors, better jokes, and kept the same spirit as the OG version. Pocoyo, cute but not as cute as the OG version. New characters are amazing. The opening song is in the wrong key. Not much change to Pocoyo himself. The OG version is always #1 to me. Here I am! This is Graham Giancola. Scarlett and Isaiah are two kids who travel across Canada and the world learning about stuff we know today. Sports, dancing, making things. Scarlett and Isaiah were the cutest of the bunch. 2 is better than 1. But before Scarlett and Isaiah, there was Emily Young, who was on another show before she got her own show. Between the bunch, Emily learned some of the coolest stuff. What's interesting about the show is, and probably not intentionally, her last name is Young, which oddly and amazingly goes well with the show. But way before Scarlett and Isaiah, even before Emily Young, we had the king, the OG, the one who started it all. Daniel Cook, record breaker, history maker, 2 seasons. This is Daniel Cook. Sinking Ship Entertainment allowed me to come to the studio and talk to JJ, creator, writer, and director of Sinking Ship Entertainment content, to talk about the story of how Daniel Cook became Daniel Cook.
So that, he is kind of inspired all of this in a weird way. So when I graduated university, I could not find a job, so I ended up working at a talent agency as like front desk reception to make money, which was, you know, an interesting, I learned a lot there, but it wasn't exactly where I wanted to be in terms of like learning how to make TV shows. And I had a ton of student debt. I had broken up with my girlfriend of 10 years. It was like a particularly low moment for me at that time. And in came the agent with our family with this kid named Daniel Cook, who was 5 years old at the time. And I guess the agent knew the family and had met him at some party and thought he was a really great kid and just wanted to see if he wanted to do commercials and stuff. And so the family and the agent went upstairs and they left this 5-year-old with me to entertain for a bit while they had a serious conversation. And I don't know how Daniel did it, because I honestly must have looked like miserable. But he started to talk to me about Transformers and how he liked Decepticons more than Autobots because he thought bad guys were more interesting characters. And honestly, it was like the first moment of just like happiness that I had experienced in a very long time. And so the agent came down like after 20 minutes of just listening to this kid, his musings about life and what's going on and all these things. And the agent was like, this kid needs his own show, which admittedly the agent said about like anyone that came through that office. But it did get me thinking about, you know, if I was to create a kid show, what would it be? Because I'd never thought about kid shows before then. And really it was just this idea of following this kid around as he experienced different things and seeing his take, because I found it so fascinating to hear from him. And so we ended up shooting a pilot for that because we didn't know what we were doing. We left in all the bits like him misbehaving sometimes or not liking something, like all the things that like makes in a real person. Yeah. And I think that's also what kind of made it stand out. And so when we pitched it, we were lucky enough that a few networks came on board. And after we made it, Disney in the US picked it up, which is like the golden ticket in terms of, you know, that people were recognizing that we were creating innovative concepts. And so that really kind of kicked it off.
Now that I've been to Duckburg, learned about interesting mouth movements, and getting my dos nos icy cold, is it morphing time again? What's the story in Balamory? I got the answers for you right now. On September 23rd, 2024, Comic Book published an article about Power Rangers, thanks to an ex-leaked post. Now, months after the original article was published, there are new rumors that the Power Rangers will come back with a new animated TV series, which will include a live-action movie. Maybe some people like Wildbrain, Sinking Ship Entertainment, or even Nelvana could help with the animation here in Canada. Either way, I hope this gets go green lights. Now let's go to one of the bravest countries in the world, Scotland, where we ask ourselves, what's the story in Balamory? Well, I've got great news for you, everyone. Balamory is set to return in 2026. The cast of Balamory were really happy and expressed their love and interest to return for the show. But we don't know where it's going to take place, if it's going to take place on the same Scottish island or a new location.
Remember when I said there's not just one newt, there's two newts? Well, apparently there's going to be another revived Pingu series. I love all the noises the characters make, like... Even in the OG series, they make the noises really well. Credit to both of the actors who did the Pingu voice. It's going to be an amazing revived series, let me tell you that. I hope it's really good. In the revived series, I hope Pingu says at least one word. Hi, or hello. That's all I want. Pingu team, please make him say hi. Oh, what do you guys think? Should I do more winter-themed videos like this? If yes, please like, comment, and subscribe for me, please.
The Wiggles are an Australian children's band who've been making music since 1991, and they're known for their bright colors, characters, and various lineup changes throughout the years. The Wiggles have done animation throughout the past, including Wiggly animation from seasons 4 and 5, 2003's 3D animated special Space Dancing, 2009 Dorothy special Dorothy the Dinosaur Meets Santa Claus, 2020 series The Wiggles World, and now for the first time ever, Sinking Ship Entertainment and the Wiggles have partnered to do a full animated series. But I have a feeling it will come between early 2025 and early 2026. Good luck, Charlie, in high school. Everyone was so happy that they saw the Instagram post of Mia in high school that they instantly spreaded rumors that Good Luck Charlie was going to return sometime soon. And since 4 out of the 6 main cast members appeared on Kaisen and Stream, there's been even more rumors about Good Luck Charlie returning. But since Bridget Mendler's probably going to be the Elena Musk, and please Lee Allen Baker, don't have another bad hair day, please! Good Luck Charlie probably won't happen unless all 6 main cast members are interested in it. Roughly around the same time as multiple other shows were announcing possible reboots, another popular British TV show might return. Tweenies. The Tweenies are beloved British icon. Even the cast themselves were expressing their interest in the reboot sometimes. William Joyce, the creator of Rolie Polie Olie, posted on X/Twitter 5 years ago that he wanted to do a Rolie Polie Olie reboot. But as of December 28th, 2024, nothing unfortunately has happened. Hopefully sometime soon next year, now that I brought this up. Hey, Graham. Yes? I know what we're gonna do in 2025. A reboot! There's roughly 4 days till New Year's. And who knows how many more days it'll take for Phineas and Ferb to get out again. I have a feeling it'll be out in early spring, just to get the summer vibes hyped already. It was announced in August 2024 that beloved characters Phineas and Ferb would return to the TV screen, with a new reboot coming soon. I've wished her luck. Good day, Scott. I'm ready to whip. These are bananas. Can I have a scoop, please? And now that I've said hola to Pocoyo, now it's time for me to tell you who deserves a second chance. If you don't think this is one of the best Treehouse TV series of all time, then go throw a football somewhere. Foursquare is a Canadian TV series created in 2003. Each square is color-coded, and they teach kids various forms of art. Blue square, rhythm and beats. Green square, poems. Orange square, movement. And the purple square, singing. I really loved watching Foursquare when I was little. It's one of my all-time favorite series. Again, like I mentioned before, there's been a lot of lineup changes until its end in 2007. I really think the show deserves a second chance, because a lot of the stars from the 3 seasons are still doing good today, and some of them are still even doing music-related things. I talked to Ronnie about how he got his part in Foursquare.
Treehouse, they're looking for kids to just be on this new show. I think you'd be great. And I was like, okay. So I went to audition. There were a lot of kids. Oh my gosh. And we just we had to do
and Anand Rajaram, who played Lutsu in the first season, about how he got into Foursquare with Corpus.
We're approached by Treehouse, or by the producer connected with Treehouse, to create Foursquare, when it was going to be, as you know, 4 segments, one of which was movement. So Corpus would create all the movement, and then...
And Season 2 Four-Tone, star Dominique, still gets love today after nearly 20 years. She talked to me about how she got into Foursquare.
My agents, I guess they approached my agents about me, I think, because it had already been on for a year before I joined them. They had already had 1 season, and then somehow, I feel like I had an audition for it, but I feel like they approached my agents for it. I'm not sure. My agents might have submitted me, but that's how I heard about it, and then I was really excited to be a part of it. I mean, it's a little bit my claim to fame, a little bit. I mean, I've had Oh yes, I've had a great career by the grace of God, but I was really lucky because I was part of Foursquare. A lot of my friends' kids know who I am already, and sometimes, even recently, I was just doing a show, and they all realized that I was on Foursquare. All these actors were like, "Oh my God, you're on Foursquare!" So it feels it's really cool to be having been grown up with these kids.
And she was also telling me some of her favorite songs.
Yes, the one that
Lucky Me.
I love Lucky Me. I love Lucky Me. Lucky, lucky, lucky.
Yeah, you were the lead.
Lucky me. Yes, I love Lucky, lucky, lucky. But the one that people always remember is Oh me, oh my pizza pie-o. I threw it high into the sky.
Oh yeah, that one.
I love that one. But you know which one I really loved was Shake, 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 shake to the music. Shake, 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 shaboo, shaboo. That's when Chantel was sad.
Yeah. Great acting, Chantel, if you're watching.
She was sad, and so we taught her to dance a little bit. Got really excited. Yeah. It was a really great time. I really loved being a part of that show.
The quiz with added whiz definitely deserves to come back, or maybe even at least a Canadian version. A hybrid live-action and animated series, a scripted game show, and the locations they make for the races are incredible. Olie Tyre, the character designer for Kerwhizz, was only there for the first year of development, But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, these character designs look really cool. I would honestly love to voice one of the characters if there was a Canadian version of Kerwhizz. Lunar Jim is an interesting one of the very first Canadian stop-motion series that I grew up watching. It is one of, if not the best, stop-motion space animated series. Actor and director for the show, Benny Zelkowicz, talked about how he was hired to do the show.
So I was hired to direct the show. They actually had, the way it was divided up, unlike a typical show where we would have a director per episode, here they had one person who was kind of directing and supervising pre-production, including especially storyboards. I was the animation director, so I was in charge of supervising all the construction of everything and all the animators and everything that was going on in front of the camera. And then there was a post-production director. So I was in charge of all the episodes on the floor, and they asked me to come in to record what's called a temp track, just a audio that we could animate to, because they hadn't hired the actors yet. So I went in and I recorded that just kind of off the cuff, and they hired some actors, including an actor for Jim. And a couple of weeks later, they came back and said that they weren't satisfied with the actor who was playing Jim. I'm not sure exactly what the issue was. I think it might have been that his voice was rather similar to one of the other actors they had. So they said that they preferred my temp track, and they asked me if I would come in and actually record for the character. So it was a little bit tricky. There would be some days where I would be off the set and in the recording booth. But luckily I had a couple of very good assistant directors who, especially once the show really got rolling, there was a lot of, the way the show was constructed, certain shots would recur from episode to episode. And a lot of the acting was very, the stories were all very similar. So after a while, once we kind of got in the groove of things, things were fairly smooth and predictable. And it was easier to kind of hand things off to the assistant directors because they knew just as well what we had done the previous time, and the animators knew what they were expected to do and things like that. So at first it was a little bit tricky because I would be, offset for a while, and I would come back and there'd be kind of a mountain of things that I had to address. But as we went on, it got smoother. And then for the second season, I was no longer in Canada at that point, so I just recorded those tracks remotely, and I wasn't directing those episodes.
In the Night Garden literally is an interesting show. It was another popular British TV hit. Memorable characters, the silly noises they make, and of course, the nighttime. If I'm in the Night Garden, oh, I'm in the Night Garden. I'm all in if it comes back. Fun fact, popular British TV doctor, Doc Martin Clunes, voiced Kipper. That's an interesting fact for the day. And Hungarian animator Reka Kalózi talked about how she got involved with Kipper.
I have a longer history in animation, actually. So I started working in animation in 1990 in my uncle's studio in the countryside in Hungary. And then I moved to Budapest some years later, and I already knew the studio, and they hired me not only for Kipper, but for many other projects. But Kipper was one of my first projects at this studio.
I think it deserves a revival or a reboot sometime soon. Hopefully with Martin Clunes again. I have a new friend, and his name is Andreas Lieben, creator of My Big Big Friend. He told me the inspiration for the show and what was the production like for the show too.
My Big Big Friend started with a short film, a 1-minute short film. I created by myself. It was a one-person animation piece of work. And it was created following some it was a contest in Brazil. For the first time, they would offering a very little money to different animators in the country to present their 1-minute story or 1-minute idea for an animation, and it has to do with a theme, and the theme was my best friend.
Aww.
So all the 20 stories, the 20 selected short films were talking about best friends. And I created that story. It wasn't like the series yet because it was just a short film. It's less compromised with, with lots of scripts and whatever. It started just to satisfy that contest and that project. And it was about a kid and an elephant living together. You can't say they are imaginary. You can't say they were, they how the rules of the universe were. The only thing you see is they live in a world that is common for a kid to have a big friend, a big animal as a friend at home, and you just accept that. And the interesting thing in that short film is that what I wanted actually was to give it a narration with a voice of a kid, and you could heard the narration has and from the beginning of the film you would understand the voice was from the kid, but at the end you realize the voice was actually from the elephant, who is actually a kid too, so that was the idea. But at the end the broadcaster that created that contest, they told us it shouldn't have dialogues because they wanted to to interchange the contents with other countries. It's a public television, so we needed to cut that idea. And I have used some treatment on the lines, like the elephant was, sketched by the kid, and the very final scene is the opposite. The kid is actually the one is sketched. It's a very subtle. It's not that obvious as the voice would be, but it wasn't a problem to touch lots of hearts with the story, because the story talks about a relationship between two characters, a small one, like fragile one, and a big one, but both of them are fragile. You have three situations on the movie. The first situation is one that the kid needs the support of the elephant. The second one is every one of both need support one each other, because they are losing their best friends. It's like the girl and the giraffe are moving to another city or wherever, and they get sad, and so they support, they hug each other, and they give them some support. And the very final scene is when the elephant is afraid of dark and the kids embraces him, and so the kid is the one that is giving support for the big guy. So that way you were talking about how the friendship should be, how the relationship should be. And on that time we were showing a lot of other projects to Canadian companies. You're on that time the Brazilian government and Canadian government were doing some efforts to connect both countries. They re-added a node collaboration deal between the countries that facilitates co-production between both countries. And we were traveling a lot to Canada to show our contents, our projects to them. And actually they liked our projects, but they always said, they was always saying, okay, I love this, but I would like to do that short film and make it as a series. And then we came back to home and developed the short film as a series. So you needed to create a lot of other rules for the universe, create other characters, and create a concept strong enough to support 50 or 100 stories. So there was a very hard time to develop this. It's a fun thing, but it needs lots of research, especially on psychologists, with psychologists to understand which would be the best age group to direct our content, to talk about imaginary friends being or not being said on the screen. So that's how it started. So then you did a deal with a Canadian company called Breakthrough in Toronto, and we started to co-produce, and in 2 years or less than this, I think in 1 year it started to being released on Treehouse in Canada and Discovery Kids in Latin America.
Did you ever come to Canada to do the production?
Yeah. I did it at the beginning, especially the beginning. I think I went to Canada like 4 times along the process, but I stayed for many days at the beginning doing some researches on other studios, because in Brazil, on that time, Brazil didn't have we didn't have tradition in series. You didn't have an industry at that moment. Nowadays, we are doing a lot of series, but at that time, it was something that we should research and create a way to you have to handle or managing 100 people doing the same work for 2 years. So it's not an easy task. Mm-hmm. So it forced me to understand it, how it should be done. Of course, we did a lot of mistakes in the journey, but we also learned a lot and helped us to improve for the next productions. Actually, inclusive to the second season, because a Big Big Friend was done in 2 seasons of 52 each one. 52 episodes.
Yes. Honestly, I can picture my Big Big Friend rebooting again before 2026. There's a lot of funny jokes in the show, and the characters are extremely lovable. They really act like kids, if you get what I mean. What a wonderful kind of day, I must say. But if you're Arthur, then it's an even better day. It's about an aardvark who goes on various adventures with his friends. Even though I don't think Arthur will come back, layout location designer Wayne Millet talked about how he got involved with Arthur.
I was working for a company called Cinar.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, Cinar was based in Montreal, and they grew out of a smaller company called Crayon Animation. Crayon Animation was operating out of a warehouse, and we were doing a few animation projects there, and Cinar just had some crazy growth, and they moved into a high-rise in Montreal, downtown Montreal, where they had 3 floors. And from there, it just took off. There was tons of projects. For an artist, it was great because a lot of us working in animation at the time had, full-time contracts, one after another. And that was like the first time in years any of us had seen that kind of employment,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Arthur just happened to be one of the projects I was asked to work on while I was during my tenure there. I was working there close to 10 years, I guess. And they were talking about this new show coming in called Arthur. I was already on a show called, I think it was called Busy World of Richard Scarry. And I was doing some location designs on that. and the position became available to work on Arthur. So I just switched right into that show.
And finally, this show was oh too good to be true. Noonbory and the Super 7, a Canada-South Korea co-production. I'd argue that this is the best kids TV show of 2009. Let me tell you why. The good guys, Bories, various senses, and uncommon sense. Gurries, with various powers and abilities. I talked to Melanie Darling, the voice of Rosie Gurry, about how she got into the show.
Now, this is a little fuzzy for me because during this time I was going to an acting school and we did a section on voiceover work, and that's where I kind of figured out I had a knack for this. And I think because of that school, I found out about an audition at Da Capo Productions, which...
And surprisingly, Brent Hirose, Noonbory himself, can still do the high-pitched voice nearly 20 years after.
Went out is there was a company in Winnipeg, which still exists, called Da Capo Productions, who were they were basically the go-between between the companies, so Cookie Jar and I can't remember the name of the Korean company, but they were the ones who were doing all the audio side of it. So not only did they do the recording and the casting of the actors, but they were also doing a lot of the music. So a lot of the incidental music and stuff was done by the people there. Everything except for the theme song. They didn't get to do the theme song.
Voodoo Highway Music made the theme song.
Yeah. So I had previously auditioned for Cookie Jar on another project called Super Strikers, which I believe is still going on. A long-running... Okay, I'm sorry, I just got to move her.
No problem.
Poot, get out of here. 1 second, I'm just going to put her out of the room. I love you so much, but you're a pain in the ass.
Oh, man.
Where was I? So I was talking about Super Strikers. So
Yes.
That is a long-running soccer show that is very popular in many of the parts of the world where soccer is the #1 sport. And at the time, they were auditioning for a bunch of different roles on that. So I did an audition for that. They ended up using me for some like small incidental roles. I think I'm on like 3 or 4 episodes of that as a one-off character. But because of that, the company really liked me. Da Capo really liked working with me. And so when it came to Noonbory, as I recall, I think I just auditioned directly through the company. So it wasn't through the casting agent who did that. They were just, oh yeah, here's another project. Come in and audition for this. And as I recall, I auditioned for Noonbory and I think one of the Gurries, something like that. Again, it was a while ago, but to my memory, what they did is they had some of the character designs. So we got to see the character design and like a little bit of, some of the keywords of what were the qualities of the character. So, for Noonbory, I think it was like courageous, kind, like a leader, like that kind of stuff. And so those were some of the keywords along with a few lines of dialogue that we did for the audition. And so I did that audition there with them and was happy to be cast as the lead role.
Whoop, whoop. What did you have to do to nail Noonbory's voice?
Honestly, it was really when I saw his face that I had a couple of ideas for stuff. And I remember I tried a few different things, but there was one voice in particular, obviously Noonbory's voice, where it was starting to come up here and be, this really happy voice. So come on, everybody, let's go, let's do it. It was really just playing around with it. And to me, my thought process behind it, because Noonbory's head is so round and he's got this big smile that takes up most of his face, I was really trying to make that roundness exist in the sound of his voice, so everything was sitting in that space there. So that's sort of how we did that. I know they did a little bit of post-processing it, so they like pitched it slightly. But by and large, Noonbory is the voice that sort of came out of my mouth when I was first playing with it, and that's the one they decided to go with.
Oh my gosh! Thank you. That's a legendary voice. You also check out Noonbory and Super 7 out on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's out there. There's a bunch of the episodes now, yeah.
Before I say goodbye, I have a couple things I want to say. Here, I have an unfinished TV pilot I've been writing, all because of a true story inspired by someone very special who's on Wikipedia and he doesn't really know it. And he brings a lot of joy to my heart. And before I turn 30, I want this show to have its own pilot. Before I turn 30, because I still want to feel very young. Before I say my final few words, I have someone who likes to say... Before I say my final few words, I have a special guest who wants to do something to show you. Ren, what do you want everyone to do? Do you want everyone to like, comment, and subscribe?
Yes. All of them.
Yes.
Do everything.
All of them, all of you, subscribe, like, and comment.
And do everything.
Yeah, what he said. Do everything.